brief on a Friday morning.
Yeah, why not?
Welcome back to the channel, guys. To my left, we've got Rad, so good morning.
Yeah, good. Morning, mate.
How are you?
Good, yeah. Just looking forward to the weekend, Annie. I think everyone's really nervous now for every Forest game, given what's at stake. So, hopefully it just continues to be as amazing as it is.
I completely agree. I mean, Peterborough away, I mean, potentially we could, quite a few theories, we could send them down, we could confirm our playoff place. I mean, quite a big game now.
Yeah, I mean, it's that stage of the season, isn't it, where there's a lot of games that mean nothing, and then there's quite a few games that mean an awful amount. Like, teams can be playing each other, and it could decide who goes down, who goes up. So I mean, I think Huddersfield v Barnsley. I think Huddersfield can come from the playoffs, and Barnsley can get relegated. So similar situation with us, where obviously they can go down, and we can confirm the playoffs. I know it depends on other results, but just the fact there's a chance is fantastic to do it with like 3 games to go, more than that, 4 games to go. That's incredible. So it's not like we just got the playoffs; we did it with games to spare as well. But I don't think it's going to be quite as easy as people make out. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we went there and absolutely thrashed them 4-0. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to make it that easy, because they have actually been kind of picking up, from what I can tell. Peterborough, they're like giving it one last fight. So it reminded me a little bit of Wickham last year, when they were hopeless for most of it and they had a pretty strong end and they just ultimately missed out. But I think it was only like a point or two. So, for all we know, maybe Peterborough might do that. They might have a strong end, but not quite enough. And, they're going to be up for it. They have to win, really, to keep their hopes alive. But obviously, more importantly, we have to win to just be even more strong in the playoffs. I mean, I think we've got it, really, but you can't say that with Forest, really, because we know what happened a few years ago. We thought we'd got it, and we didn't. But I've seen people comparing what we're doing now to what we did in this, Lamucci, and I don't think there's any comparison, to be honest. I think this team's better in every way. The manager's better, fans in the stadiums, for starters. There's lots of things that are definitely more in our favour than that season.
Definitely. I mean, even with the start as well, I mean, we had worse to start than Sabra, but we seem to be stronger.
Yeah.
Good than Sabra.
Yeah. I mean, that I don't like talking about that season, obviously, but COVID kind of killed us that year, and it was also, there's definitely more to it, really. I mean, I think it was when we drew a Derby that it kind of went downhill, and we never really recovered, and I think maybe pressure got to us. And I think ultimately we did overachieve that year, and we probably weren't good enough to go up. But I think this year, I think that really is not the case at all. I think we can clearly see we are capable of promotion. We're strong enough for it. And, teams are scared to play us, and it's so weird, especially as a younger fan, to see people saying, "God, I don't want to play Forest right now." Like, so often it's the other way around. People look forward to playing Forest. It's fantastic, and long may it continue, really.
I do agree. I mean, touching on with that, I mean, Monday as well. I mean, probably the performance of the season in a way. I mean, it's up there. Like, I mean, from start to finish, it were like really, really epic. And I mean, it just goes to show that we had Cook come back, we had Davis, and we had Silver starting up front, second start. I mean, it just goes to show we just going to get stronger.
Yeah, this is what I just think is so impressive. Is like, we look at other teams, when they get like 1 or 2 injuries, it just completely screws them over. Like QPR, for instance, they fell off a cliff since they got loads of injuries, and we've had lots of injuries when you add it all up, and we haven't not been affected by it at all. Like, and they're not just short term. We've had Lowe out twice. We've had Graben out for like 2 months. Cook has been out. We've had McKellen Wall missing occasionally, not very often though. We've had Samba, and obviously we did have Horvath, but instead of player out that we'd normally play, Lolly. You know, we've got all these players. Mighton. There's so many players that have been injured, and we haven't been affected at all. If anything, we've played better. And it's, you know, as Cooper says, it's next man up, and it's a bit of a cliche, but it's true. It really does work in this case, you know. And Davis now obviously is injured, which is sad because he's absolutely fantastic, Keenan Davis. But as much as I want him available, and I have a feeling he will be fit before the end of the season, because we always tend to bring players back early. The physios work wonders. But I'm more than confident with Sam Surridge having to play ahead of him, because he's honestly, it's not just on the pitch, he's off it, that's just suddenly finally being used properly. And I think this is the case with Forest. For a number of years, we've had the potential to do all this, but we haven't actually fulfilled it. And we just needed the key, and the key was Cooper and Dane Murphy, quite clearly. And we're seeing now it's being used so perfectly. And you know, when we signed Surridge, Davis as well, and even Cook to a certain degree, people were saying, "Why have we signed them?" And look at how well they're doing. You know, Surridge turning out to be an absolute bargain. You know, was unbelievable in front of goal. Doesn't panic. Very, very calm. And I thought he did really well the other day against West Brom. And I agree, it's definitely one of the best performances of the season. But honestly, you know, it's so difficult for me to pick my favourite match, because there's just been so many performances where you look at and you think, wow, that was just top stuff. And, you know, even to do a top 5 is very difficult. But just based off the West Brom match, yeah, I mean, the first half, obviously we were just ruthless, and you know, got a penalty, which was definitely a penalty, and then it was the corner. People are saying, well, it should have been a corner because it should have been West Brom's ball, but literally, I think moments later, we should have had a corner and they got a throw. So that, you know, the referee was a bit stupid again, but I thought the ref was somewhat all right for once. You know, not saying something. And then obviously that callback goal, you can watch that on repeat forever. That's just, it's definitely a shot in my opinion. The way he's angling his body, like, it's definitely a shot. And then, yeah, this is the thing, like, the second half, you know, you could say it's a bit dull, but we just controlled it. We didn't look at all scared or worried about conceding. West Brom had one shot the whole match. And saying that 3 of the goals were in the first half, that just shows how dominant we were in the second. And yet we didn't actually do a great deal in the second half. We just comfortably saw the game out. And you know, that's the sign of a team that is going places, you know, especially when we lost the previous game as well. You know, it's really, really encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, and as well, I mean, I've been saying it all week. I mean, the 3 subs as well we made, brought Spence off, brought McKenna off, and we brought Yatesy off, where them 3 wouldn't, in other games where you know that you're going to have to go out and win, we actually brought them off, which was quite nice. You got Caffrey some minutes, got Dardy made his debut, and obviously Cook got some minutes as well, which it was quite nice. And Laurie, to say he didn't spoil us much, he actually looked quite impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it, you know, even the substitutes that we make so much sense. Like, you know, if we come to be in the lead, we give players chances that wouldn't normally play. That's what everyone would do. But when we need to make sensible changes, we do it. And you know, I was really pleased to see Cook back on the bench. You know, he's been fantastic, and you know, it's going to be harsh because I have a feeling that Figueiredo is going to be dropped now, because like as good as he's been, he really has been fantastic. And I've never been, you know, I think in the past people like Figueiredo and Yates have been the scapegoats, and I get why they were, and I have criticised them in the past, but I never was one of these that just said, no, get rid. I've always said believe in them. And, you know, Figs and Yates have both exceeding even what they've been in the past that was good. But, you know, the fact that we can take out Figueiredo after how well he's played just says everything about how strong the team is now. Like, you know, so many of the clubs would never be able to afford to take someone out performing as well as Figueiredo is. You know, that's just a huge luxury for us to have. And we've got other centre backs coming through as well. Like we are stats at centre back now. You know, Cafu. You know, this is the thing. Even players that we all thought were pretty average, or even they're playing well. Like Cafe did that little back heel to Johnson, I remember, when he came on, and Larea, he came on, and he didn't really notice him that much because he was on the far side from where I was sitting, to be fair. But I think we do need to see more of him. But it was great to see him finally get a chance, and I think that was the first time this season that Spencer's actually been substituted. So
Yeah, it is. That's
you
amazing.
know, but when I saw number 2 pop up, I thought, wow, okay, we're taking Jed off for once. So it's it was good to see the way he got to go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember when we signed Steve Cook, and I was like, we signed something like the Dave Murphy bracket as he took philosophy, and I remember Steve Cook saying about it a couple of weeks later. I think it was like a month later or two. I can't remember if it be Leicester or if it be Huddersfield. I can't remember. It was some, and people even said like, yeah, we signed Cook because I felt like we needed a leader in there with someone that was with experience, and that's been there, got a T-shirt, and now I sort of see why we have put because obviously with that Noah about the league and how well he is doing.
Yeah, it's such a fantastic, very, very smart signing. He's not like he's 36, he's 30. He's still got quite a number of years left, really. He's not like he's a winger that's got to bomb down the pitch every time. He's a centre back, so he can keep going a bit longer. And just a really, really smart signing. Like, we already had one of the best defences in the league with Wall and McKenna, who are just incredible. McKenna's player of the year, in my opinion. There's lots of players that can play of the year, but I give it to him. Wall just continues to be Wall. Figs proving that he's more than reliable now. And I already liked Figs quite a bit, but obviously he's gone even higher than I ever thought he would do. And obviously we've got Cook now. You say we need a leader. Wall and McKenna are leaders, really, but then to go and add Cook into the mix as well, it's just, that's such a smart signing. And yeah, it was a bit against their philosophy of signing young players, but you need a bit of a balance. And I think I saw when Cooper was at Swansea, he had quite a young back line. He played a back three with wing backs, which is exactly what we do. And I don't remember. I didn't see it quite as clearly, but it was quite a young back line. And I think he signed Ryan Bennett from Wolves, I believe. And he was like 30 plus. So adding like a 30-year-old into a pretty young back line like ours, he's done exactly the same thing with Cook. And I think it's a really smart move, and it's worked out really well. I mean, it feels like Cook's been with us for years. The way he goes about his business, like Finn's been the away end at Luton, I thought was really, really good to see. A player going the away end, not just sit in the dugout or anything. So really good to see him embrace the fans, literally being with the fans for a match. So very good signing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with like keeping on top of Oxford and Gladwin, I mean, I know that both are in a contract and some. I mean, there've been quite a lot of things this year saying that he might be leaving, what go back to Portugal. He nearly left on deadline day, which Finney as well. And with Gladwin, I mean, there've been a lot on Gladwin this past week since the Luton game, saying that is he still up for it? Is he not the Gladwin before his injury, and all this and all that, a lot of talk. And how would you feel about them two? Would you keep them two, or would you keep Gladwin but using more of an impact player?
I mean, I think I'll keep Figueiredo, but I think with Figs, it's probably going to be more of a personal decision than the club decision, because he wanted to go back to Portugal for a while, whether he's homesick or he just wants another challenge. He's been an incredible professional. He could have easily have left in January. He nearly did leave. He could have left in the summer, I believe, as well, a few times, in fact. He's one of our longest serving players, Figueiredo, now, which, is testament to him. He's just one of these players that just quietly goes about his business, and the fact that he's finally been given a chance again to play and he's just exceeding all expectations. He doesn't, some players that nearly left, that didn't leave, they could just come in and just not really be bothered and not really try. But Figs has done the complete opposite, and he looks completely committed to the club. But I think ultimately it's going to come down to his personal choice. I'd like to see him stay, but if he does leave, fair play to him. It's up to him ultimately. But regardless, I think he's done he's been a good servant to us. I think really, he's definitely had his moments where he's not been very good, but I think go down as a pretty good player for us. And as for Graben, based off how he's done since he's come back, the 3 substitute appearances and the whole game against Luton until he went off, you would probably say don't keep him. But this is the thing, like Graben's when he first signed for us, the first 2 seasons he was excellent. Then obviously last season Houghton ruined him completely, like he did with the entire team. And Graben was a complete shadow of what he was. He missed so many sitters, he looked completely past it. And like I said a few times, sell him in the summer. And I'm pleased we didn't, because Cooper revitalised him like he has everyone. And until he got injured, he was on a roll. Like he was looking like the old Graben. I think he's on like 12 goals. He was scoring goals consistently again. It was great to see. No one would have ever seen it coming after how he performed last year. But he came into the team and he was his old self again. And it's a real shame that he got injured, because since he's come back, he's not been the same player, unfortunately. And I know he's only had 1 start, but that 1 start, I think Graben, along with the referee being terrible, was one of the reasons why we lost to Luton, to be honest, because I think it just kind of threw out our system a little bit. And he's a great player to have, but I don't know. I think if he can discover his form that he had before his injury, I think I will give him a 1-year deal, maybe. But if he continues to be a bit off it for the rest of the season, then maybe you could say bye to him. But I don't know. I'd like to see Grab stay for another year, and Figueiredo, to be honest.
Yeah. That's a point. To be fair, I do agree with you. How would you go about the lineup tomorrow against Peterborough? I mean, what sort of changes would you want? Well, would you keep a winning team? Actually, I rephrase that question before I say it.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, I keep it the same, but at the same time, like if Cook's available, you probably put him into the side ahead of Figs, but it's going to be really difficult to drop him. But I think Cooper's got a choice. Like you can't play 4 centre backs, so you're gonna have to take one out. It's very difficult on Figueiredo, but it just shows how incredible our squad depth is now. The fact we can take out a player performing that well. And it's going to be interesting to see whether he does that or not. I don't think, when Lowe came back, he came back into the team, but I don't think he's going to come back for a while. I think when Davis is available, he'll come back into the side. But I don't know whether it will be that simple or not. When Samba had his suspension, he didn't walk straight back in. But I think that was Cooper trying to, geeing him up a bit. And to be fair, I think it's worked because Samba has looked a bit more sensible since he's been back in there, which is great. But yeah, I think if I was going to make a change, I'd probably put Cook back in reluctantly on Figueiredo. And, other than that, I'd probably keep it the same, to be honest.
That's a fair point, to be fair. What's the score prediction?
I don't want to just completely disrespect Peterborough and say like 4-0 Forest, but I mean I could see it because we love scoring goals these days, and I've said a few times like it used to be a luxury to see Forest score like even 2-3 goals, and we do it for fun now in the Cooper. Like we've scored 4 goals this season like 6 times, which is just unheard of. But I could see it. I mean, if you're going to do it, surely Peterborough is the kind of team to do it for. But I just think because they're going to be, this is literally their last chance of trying to stay in the Championship. I don't think they're going to make it as easy as that. So I don't know. I could see it being like 3-1 or something like that. So I'll go 3-1. Give them a goal, but ultimately we'll win.
Yeah, got to give them something.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. You had,
Don't forget to check out Wad's YouTube channel as well.
yeah. Thank you.
So I'd like to say thank you for watching, guys.